where the commander-in-chief has been spending the holidays. And Lucas, you've had great coverage overnight here. What else are we learning about this operation?
Good morning, Griffin. A daring operation in the pre-dawn hours in 2 a.m. local in Caracas, 1 a.m. East Coast time. U.S. Special Operations Forces flew in from off the coast of Venezuela to snatch Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife. President Trump announcing the news on Truth Social.
Wait, what? Nah.
Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his the coast of Venezuela to snatch Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and his wife.
You have got to be kidding me. We definitely got to unpack this. I'm going to let this play for a little while longer. And this is wild because first and foremost, right off the bat, but we keep going. How in the world? Well, how do I preference this? What logic does it make to kidnap the leader of a country and their wife to stop drugs from getting into the USA? How is that supposed to stop gangs from bringing drugs over, kidnapping the leader and the wife of another country? Anyway, let's continue.
President Trump announcing the news on Truth Social a short time ago. I'll read it for our viewers. It says, quote, "The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country. This operation was done in conjunction with U.S. law enforcement. Details to follow. There will be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. Thank you for your attention to this matter."
You know what I want to know? How many black and brown people have to die because this man is on the Epstein list? That's what I want to know. Seriously. He goes after places like Venezuela, Nigeria, where it's colored people there. Now, of course, we know what this is about. We know why he's evading these countries. I mean, he said it out of his own mouth. Matter of fact, let's go there real quick, where he told you exactly why he's going over there. Hold on.
Was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where the oil, their oil is garbage. It's horrible. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where the oil, their oil is garbage. It's horrible. How about we're buying...
Yeah, it's all about the oil, man. You know, guns and butter, baby. It's all about that oil, man. But this is what the big bully America does. You know, the U.S. needs to be stopped. And this is why this place got to be judged. Because this place has no type of recourse. And neither does the president.
Matter, President Donald J. Trump. And just before the assault force arrived at Maduro's compound, you can imagine the intelligence that U.S. intelligence agency had to have to know where to send the assault force to be able to locate and grab Maduro as well as his wife. You had numerous airstrikes throughout Caracas targeting Maduro's forces at a military base in Caracas as well as an air base, also Venezuela's largest port. And this is something President Trump has been threatening for months. It started with the drone strikes on the alleged drug boats in the Caribbean and the Eastern Pacific, over 24 to date, killing over 100 people. You saw it when U.S. forces seized, as a law enforcement matter, the oil tankers that the Trump administration said were associated with the Maduro regime. The goal is to cut off the drug and oil revenue stream for Nicolas Maduro. And for months, we've heard President Trump say that Maduro must go, and Maduro was very defiant. Despite repeated threats from President Trump, over 15 times, President Trump said he will be striking on land. Recall on Monday, we heard the president confirming that the CIA struck a target along the coast of Venezuela, destroying some of Maduro's drug boats. And again, this has been...
You know, it is very obvious to me that without war, America would go into bankruptcy or an economic collapse. You know, this place seems to thrive off of war because it's big money in war, by the way. And it's almost like they're just looking for issues. You know, they're trying to convince us that, you know, these drug mules were carrying drugs on speedboats. You know, nobody does that. Nobody carries drugs on speedboats. And they're trying to convince us that the leader of their country, of Venezuela's country, was a drug boss. But at the same time, making it very clear that we want their oil. I mean, you know, this is that bully behavior of America. Yeah, Babylon is definitely cooked. Babylon is definitely cooked, and there has to be consequences for this type of stuff, man. First of all, how was he able to get the green light to send airstrikes without the Congress support? This should be absolutely illegal. You just can't go to war with somebody without the country agreeing on it. It has to be a unanimous decision. So while they're calling the Venezuela president a dictator, it looks like we're the ones ran by a dictator.
Something that is not quite unprecedented. We saw in 1989 with the seizure of Manuel Noriega from Panama. This is something that the president wanted. We had not heard from President Trump, almost shades of Operation Midnight Hammer when those B-2s struck Iran. We haven't seen President Trump over the past 2 days. We heard from him on New Year's Eve. It was interesting. A reporter asked the president what his goal was for this coming year. He replied, peace. Well, for the President Nicolas Maduro, he didn't get that. Now, we did hear from Maduro yesterday, guys. He sounded like he was almost pleading in an interview done from a car, believe it or not, saying he was almost begging the Trump administration for a deal with oil. Of course, many American oil.
Wow. They show weakness. So they're saying that Maduro was in a vehicle pretty much pleading with Trump. Look, let's come up with a deal. You know, it doesn't have to escalate to violence. You know, America's not going like that, though. They got to do things tyrannically. So they were pretty much pleading for a deal like, look, man, let's be civilized here and let's come up with something. America's like, nah, we want that oil. If that means snatching you and your wife up, if that means bombing your country, then, you know, that's what it's going to be. And they've been programming the people for a few days to accept this. There's been a viral rap song going around about Trump going to war and pushing that button. Not to mention, you know, he's been just poking at people for the last few months. You know, this is crazy, man. And, you know, the Bible says, woe unto the land built upon blood.
Firms were kicked out of Venezuela decades ago. We've heard from President Trump in recent days saying he wants that oil back and the company's in.
Well, and it's excuse me, pretty clear, Lucas, that the clock had run out for Nicolas Maduro to come to the table despite that interview that he did. Lucas, we're just getting a tweet this morning from Senator Mike.
Wow, you hear the commentator? Well, it was too late for him to come to the table. Well, why was it too late? Because y'all never listen. These Romans, these colonizers who want to push the democracy rather on everybody, they had no intentions of coming to the table making no deal. Imagine another leader of a country saying, listen, let's sit down at the table. And they like, nope, too late, we bombing. And it was just, listen, we just started a so-called new year. And this is the first thing that happens. Crazy work.
Lee, who is saying just got off the phone with Secretary Rubio. He informed me that Nicolas Maduro has been arrested by U.S. personnel to stand trial on criminal charges in the United States, and that the kinetic action we saw tonight was deployed to protect and defend those executing the arrest warrant. This action likely falls within the president's inherent authority under Article 2 of the Constitution to protect U.S. personnel from an actual or imminent attack. It's interesting as we read that, Lucas. The vice president, Delcy Rodriguez of Venezuela, took earlier to state TV in Venezuela demanding proof of life of Maduro. But it's pretty apparent that it's unclear who is running that country right now. You're looking live at some of the strikes that were carried out there. Do we have any more indication about who is running the country there now, and whether or not any of the other individuals like the vice president and others associated with Maduro's regime may be targets still?
What's notable, that statement from Venezuela's vice president confirming the news from President Trump that President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were seized by that American assault force, likely either the Delta.
Now, they're using the word caption on the news. You know, my title may be a bit controversial, but I'm going to call it kidnapping. You kidnap that man and his wife. You know, first of all, what does his wife have to do with it? You know, why his wife? You know, does anybody in America, you know, see anything wrong with that? Does anybody in MAGA find that to be a bit abrasive? How about morally wrong?
Force, or SEAL Team 6, flown by the 160th Special Operation Aviation Regiment, the Night Stalkers, the most elite pilots in the world. It's notable, we saw the video of those U.S. Army helicopters flying low over Venezuela under the cover of those airstrikes in darkness, that you didn't see any Venezuelan surface-to-air missiles or AAA anti-aircraft fire. And it's notable, Griff, that I spoke to Elliot Abrams, President Trump's former special envoy to Venezuela recently. He said this was a showdown between President Trump and Nicolas Maduro, and there could only be one winner. And that is why President Trump likely did not back down. You had this large military buildup in the Caribbean. You have about a dozen warships offshore. You have the USS Gerald R. Ford Strike Group that was rerouted from Europe, came to the Caribbean. You have USS Iwo Jima, amphibious assault ship. You have dozens of helicopters aboard there, of course, dozens of strike aircraft aboard Ford. You also had squadrons of the F-35 stealth fighter jets from the Air Force that arrived in Puerto Rico in recent days from the Air Force.
I mean, they snuck them in the middle of the night and then want to call it a showdown. They snuck them after Maduro wanted to sit down and come to the round table, and now they're calling it a showdown. See, this is colonialism, man. This is imperialism. This is what the colonizers do, man. And they do it right in everybody's faces. Let me see. Somebody in the chat says, just remember, if another country did this on American soil, is considered a terrorist activity. Exactly. But this is nasty work, man.
including the Green Mountain Boys from Vermont. You also had the Marine Corps F-35 Bravo version also on the ground in Puerto Rico. So you had this large armada and firepower assembled. You had KC-135 refueling planes in the Dominican Republic. President Trump offered no indication that he was backing down from his threat. And President Trump, when he makes these threats, typically follows through. And that's what we saw in the pre-dawn hours this morning. And again, there could only be one winner in this showdown, and it was not Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro.
They calling it a damn showdown. And you know, these cats think they John Wayne, man. Like they really think they the Cowboys out here. It was a showdown. It was either us or them. Man, they wanted that oil, so they bogarted that. Straight up.
Thoroughly appears.
So, Lucas, real quick, we understand that that this operation was successful and is over. But do you have the sense that it is in fact over with and the firefight is finished? And then where do we go from here?
I'm going to read this scripture in Jeremiah 51 and 55, and it reads, "Because the Lord is plundering Babylon and slicing her loud voice through her waves roar like great waters, and the noise of their voices uttered." See, Babylon is going to be judged. You know, the wickedness of this place has reached the heavens. You know, I've came across some material where Trump is talking about that it's going to be the last Christmas. This perhaps will be the last. This Christmas that just passed will be the last time people get to celebrate. And also on Alexa is also having some sort of glitch where it's saying there will be no more Christmases. And I think that that's somewhat of a warning that if they continue down this path, by this same time next year, things are going to be completely different in the country. And of course, I don't celebrate pagan Christmas anyway, but I'm just saying that they're giving us signs. The book of Micah tells us in chapter 2, "Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because the power is in their hands." And that's what's happening right now.
Charlie, the U.S. military likes to operate at...
They did this in the heat of the night because they have the power to do it. But their iniquity is going to be the same thing that swallow them up. Yeah, this is real antichrist behavior. Real antichrist behavior.
Night. The pilots would have night vision goggles. The assault force would have had night vision goggles. That is their perfect time to launch these kind of operations, is under the cover of darkness. Not because most people are asleep. Likely Maduro and his wife were probably asleep when they blew up the door and grabbed him. So we've heard...
That's kidnapping. Maduro and his wife was in their sleep and they snatched them up out of their beds. All they doing is running their country. What proof do we have that the leader of Venezuela was a drug lord? Like, what the hell are we talking about? What proof do we have that he's a drug lord? And then on top of that, he's going to be tried in America. He's not going to be tried by his peers. But he's going to get snatched up in the middle of the night, brung to America to be tried for some crimes that we really can't prove. What witnesses would they have? It's like, what is this? Yep, somebody said it. They've been messing with Venezuela for years now. Now they did a sick power move for real.
From Senator Lee, also in that thread you just read, he says he was informed by the Secretary of State that the operation is over. It appears the goal was not just to strike the Maduro regime, and that could have almost been a distraction from the main objective, which was to snatch the Venezuelan president and his wife so they could face charges back in the United States.
Lucas, back in October, President Trump sent a clear message to Maduro saying this.
Mr. President, it has been reported that Maduro offered everything in his country, all the natural resources. He even recorded a message to you in English recently, offering mediation. What should we do to stop that?
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know.
So he has offered mediation. He wanted to sit down and chop it up. And this is the president's response.
Why? Because he doesn't want around with the United States.
Wow, man, this is getting out of control, man. What the hell is going on? These devils are really showing their horns, man, publicly. Do you hear this? In a professional setting, in a news conference, Trump goes like, yeah, he tried to, work things out amicably, like countries should work things out. But, he needs to find out he can't f with us. Yeah, he just can't f with us, y'all. What is going on? Nah.
He has offered everything. He's offered everything. You're right. You know why? Because he doesn't want around with the United States.
Is this the mob? Man, let's continue.
Yeah, the president didn't mince words, Lucas. This is obviously a signature moment for President Trump and his administration, another precise, swift, and seemingly effective military operation. What do you think we can expect to see from the international community in response?
Well, allies of the United States are going to be on the side of the United States, and America's adversaries are going to come down pretty strong on this. And when you read the statement from Senator Lee talking about Article 2 and the president's authority to carry out this operation, likely probably getting a jump on some of the criticism that the president might be facing with Democrats on Capitol Hill. So perhaps a little cover there from Senator Lee. So adversaries of the United States and, of course, Maduro's allies, Russia, China, and Iran, are going to come down very strongly on this operation.
Yo, I wonder what China's response is going to be. Yeah, because China was warning America to leave Venezuela alone. So that's going to be interesting. And also, we're going to go to Donald Trump addressing the nation. He actually started addressing the nation live around 11 a.m. And we're going to go to see what he had to say. So y'all at the right place for some, very much insightful commentary. So do me a solid and everybody double tap the screen to get the likes up. We're going to unpack this.
And let's not forget that in early December, War Secretary Pete Hegseth outlined America's new national security strategy. Part of it was bringing back what he called the Monroe Doctrine, taking control of the Western Hemisphere. There are officials in the Trump administration, including Secretary Rubio, that want to decrease the influence of China, Russia, and Iran. Of course, we've seen Hezbollah operatives set up shop in Venezuela in the past. This was all the reason that President Trump wanted a change in Venezuela.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And
Yeah, so Trump addresses the nation. Now, of course, for those just joining, we know the real reason Trump decided to do what he did. We know the real reason that he decided to go over there messing with Venezuela. Oh, we know.
Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
You hear that? He says, look, we want our oil back. They have their own, Venezuela has their own oil reserves, but in the eyes of these Idumean conquerors, they believe that everything is theirs. And he's basically saying under Biden's administration, they pretty much let go of something that we could have bogarted. Like, that we're buying oil from Venezuela. No, we shouldn't be doing that. We have the military might and power to just take theirs. They like, them just little homies on the block. We can go ahead and claim that. That's how America going. Look. Their oil, our oil, same thing.
Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. There's a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out, and we want it back.
Yeah, they looking at Venezuela like little homies on the block. But what happened when y'all keep bullying these seemingly smaller nations? Eventually, all these places gonna come together, man. Eventually, all of them gonna come together. I want to share this interesting commentary from this gentleman here too, real quick, and then we're gonna go to Trump's live nation address.
Trump captured Maduro and flew him out of the country.
What?
Trump surrounded Venezuela with helicopters and started bombing their airports and military bases. Explosions and bombs were recorded by Venezuelans seen everywhere. So Maduro put out a statement saying to prepare to defend yourselves. We're going to fight. An hour later, Trump put out a message saying we successfully captured him and flew him out of his country. Approval from U.S. law enforcement.
Did he get permission from Venezuelan authorities, or did he?
Trump didn't specify, but he said there'll be a news conference today at 11 a.m. at Mar-a-Lago. But he never mentioned.
That's exactly what he did. He kidnapped them. If you didn't get permission from Congress, because that's an act of war, and you didn't get permission from the Venezuela government, man, that's kidnapping, man.
Approval from Venezuela.
Like literally, I don't I know my title. They're probably trying to shadow ban my video because of my title, but he really did kidnap him. Like he really did. Like I didn't just say that. Like that captured is the wrong term. You kidnapped this man and his wife in the middle of the night.
Law enforcement or Maduro turning himself in. He just to be captured. He also captured his wife. And they'll soon arrive in America.
So then what does that imply?
Well, now that Maduro's been captured, that means all drugs from Venezuela is going to stop production and they'll never come to the United States again.
But how though?
That's how it works, right?
How is kidnapping another country's leader going to stop gangs from producing drugs?
Worst case.
Exactly, dog. Look, you got gangs producing drugs inside of America. Matter of fact, you got labs that produce drugs inside of America. Like, man, these heathens are almost genius, bro. They always got a cover story. Look, it's drugs. They're bringing drugs in the country. And they use that as a prelude to bomb them, strike them, kidnap for oil. That's how it works, man. Remember when he said that fentanyl was a weapon of mass destruction. Remember Trump just said that. That should have told you what was next. That should have told you what was next.
Scenario, they just attack America back because we stole their leader. If anything, maybe it'll make Maduro try harder to make sure the gang stop producing them. This is why he had to bomb their boats. Now they'll officially stop bringing it to America.
But they weren't even bringing it to America.
That's exactly what's going to happen, man. World War III 2026, man. Because eventually these countries are going to get tired of the big bad wolf, the bully. And prophetically, that's what is, written. That eventually these places are going to get tired of America running around, pillaging, destroying, and forcing their will upon others. And then eventually all those fiery darts are going to turn towards America. Matter of fact, Revelations 18:8. Let's read it.
Captured Maduro and
therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord that judgeth her. That's what they're setting the stage for. Now, let's see. The Orange Man went live. Look, the live stream is going crazy. That's how our live stream should be. You know, I guess a bunch of MAGA sickos over there. This is what the MAGA sickos are doing right now. This is what the MAGA sickos are doing right now. But, you know, we go against the grain. We don't care. We know that they're brain dead, docile, dormant, and full of dead man's bones. We know that. So, live from Mar-a-Lago. Let me see. Let's fast forward this. Live from Mar-a-Lago. And you see the way they support MAGA? You see the way they support this warfare? And this is the reason why we're going to be going into war, because, you know, people agree with these bullying tactics. And I want everybody to make sure y'all get the likes matching the views by double tapping the screen. All right, let's go. Hold on. Let me get us there, man. Goodness.
About it. Appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress.
A heavily fortified military fortress? More than likely, they blew the door off of Maduro's house, snatched him and his wife up, and that was that. And the airstrikes more than likely just hit random neighborhoods. Now, off the break, he's just, you know, bragging about his attack. He's comparing it to some World War II attack. I mean, this is crazy right off the bat, man. I mean, the world is going to be talking about this today. Let's go. Let's hear that once again, in case you didn't catch what this guy just said.
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, there's some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi.
He can't even pronounce that word, but al-Baghdadi. But anyway, about a month ago, Donald Trump gave a siphon to the military, and he called it a warrior dividend. Now I want you to understand that that is equivalent to a military surf and turf. Normally in the military, they give out this elaborate spread with steak and lobsters and things of that nature to do what? Give it, prepare people for war. Basically, they give out this siphon. And so they give a surf and turf in those barracks, and then you're going to war. That's what the warrior dividends was, because this is going to equivalent to war. There was no deed unpunished. And some people are wondering, what war? Well, see, what Trump just did is going to cause a domino effect. It's going to cause a domino effect. Now, remember, China was just warning to leave Venezuela alone. It's going to be a ripple effect. World War III is technically already here. But I'm not going to get too much into it. I know y'all want to hear him address the nation, and then I'll share my commentary. Just make sure y'all double tap the screen to get the likes up. Let's go.
Fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, there's some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer. All perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off.
Yeah, Dirty MAGA is definitely in the building. They have entered and showed up, and they're giving their round of applause for Trump. But when we talking about him blowing bubble on the Epstein list, y'all know where to be found. When we talking about Trump being accused of terminating a child at the Michigan Lake back in the early 2000s, y'all know where to be found. Yeah, when we're talking about, this man being on that list and being accused by Virginia Giuffre of graping her alongside of Epstein, y'all know where to be found. Y'all know where to be found. But when the president sends airstrikes to another country in the middle of the night, trying to get to their oil, and kidnaps their country's leader and wife, here y'all come. Wow. Only in America.
Due to a certain expertise that we have, it was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out.
Now he wants to convince us that Venezuela was ready for what happened when their leader was trying to sit down at the round table. That's to make it seem like it's not as cowardice as it looks. Somebody said Trump out here moving like a Star Wars villain. I'm telling you. You know, this is dirty work, man. Somebody says now he talking about Obama. Oh, is he? Well, we're gonna get up to that. I don't know. This is my first time seeing this particular conference, but I want to see that too. Somebody says it's going to be interesting to see what type of criminal charges he would try to place on Maduro, other than running his country. That's what I want to know. For reals. Let's go.
See, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in what's called a ready position. But they were completely...
Man, don't nobody want war, man. He claiming they was in a ready position. It was a standoff. It was a showdown. Man, them people, listen, that president was in his bed sleep with his wife, man. They wasn't in no ready position. They were trying to negotiate, bro. This is dirty. This is dirty. He's really trying to convince y'all they was in a ready position because they knew it was war coming, man. Nobody wanted to go to war, man. Like, look, these people are just, yeah, America, yeah. These are the hills have eyes, inbred pricks that I'm talking about. Look, they got they got oil containers. They know what the hell it's about. Look, some troll in there keep on texting oil containers, man. Man, MAGA, y'all are filthy, man. Y'all got blood on y'all hands. It's like, I just want to know how many black and brown people gotta be unalive because this man is on the Epstein list. I'm really curious about that. How many black and brown countries gotta be evaded because he on them damn files?
Overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have. And you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills 20.
I want to react to, I think the name is pronounced Nicolo Yak. Says black and brown countries, because they are the true Israelites, he's after God's people. Exactly. There's a lot of ethnic purging going on, and they're also trying to grandize themselves at our expense. You know, that's the real reason they bomb Nigeria. You know, it's to get the resources, the minerals, the oil. You know, he's bombed. Actually, America has bombed a whole list. And I'm not going to use the word bomb. They struck a whole list of countries within the last month or so. So they've been itching for war, but at the same time, you know, we are always the scapegoat. Black and brown people are always the scapegoat, and you know, they always exploiting us for their benefit. But let's continue though.
On average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years.
So they're gonna run Venezuela. Let me see, Stephen. Let me do you a solid. Let's get you the hell up out of here. Cause you know what?
Got me fucked up.
Yeah, get your inbred hick self on up out of here. See, sometimes you just gotta do them that way, you know. Gotta let them know. You came to the wrong platform with that, sir. Man, we don't do that over here. Anyway, let's go. Hold on.
So we are going to run the country until such time as we.
He says that they're gonna run Venezuela. That is what the colonizers do. You over there striking them, kidnapping their leadership, and like, you know what? We gonna take Venezuela. It's ours now. This is crazy, man.
Can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition, and it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people.
How the hell you want peace, liberty, and justice? You know, if somebody asked him about oil, it's going to be just like the Dave Chappelle skit. He'd be like, what? Who said something about oil? Man, let's get the hell out of here. Oil? Man, this is crazy. This is what they do. The Bible says that they would scream peace and safety, and then sudden destruction will come. The book of Habakkuk 2:12. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity. Woe to them. Yeah, Chappelle nailed it years ago, man. Because right here, I'd have been like, yo, what about them oil reserves? I couldn't be a reporter right there. I'd be like, man, what about that oil? Oil? The hell you mean? Cooking oil? Man, get the hell out of here. Yo, that's crazy.
People of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. And decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it essentially until such time as a proper transition can take place.
So, you know, that's what it is. A regime change. It's official. President Trump just announced there's going to be a regime change in Venezuela. I don't know what's going to happen to the current leader, or we can call him the former leader, but they talking about trying him in America. They snatched him up in the middle of the night. I disagree with this. I think that was a bad move. Yes, I want to read 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. As travail upon woman with child, and they shall not escape. Right. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. You know, you got these people who think it's cool to kidnap kidnap a country's leader in the middle of the night and then strike their country, and they think there's no consequences for those type of actions, man. What goes around comes around. You know? America's always looking for nuclear capabilities from other countries, trying to stifle those capabilities, and we're the only country that ever used nuclear weaponry on anyone. In Japan, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, we dropped nukes on people, but we're always trying to gouge countries for their nuclear capabilities. Like, that's a guilty conscience. That's the fact that the payback has to come. The book of Baruch 4:15, for he had brought a nation upon them from afar, a shameless nation, and of a strange language, who neither reverence old man nor pitied children. This is the strange land the Bible speaks of. This is the strange land that has no shame. It's shameless, bro. This is not how you operate. If a leader say, look, let's come to the table and negotiate this oil situation, because if y'all hurting for oil like that, we know that y'all have the military might. We know that y'all have the military power to do whatever y'all want to do to us. Let's sit to the round table. And they like, nah, it's too late. You shouldn't have F with us in the first place. You should have just gave up your oil. Well, let's talk about it. We'll give you, what do you want? Nah, it's too late. Snatch them up. Have them tried. I mean, how many times do we got to see America pull moves like this? I mean, even under the Obama administration, the way they did Muammar Gaddafi. See, America has a pattern of this type of behavior. They did Muammar Gaddafi the same way. Why? Because Gaddafi was coming up with a gold standard for his people. And under the Obama administration, he signed the orders to have Gaddafi hit. Gaddafi trusted Obama. Isaiah 59:3. For your hands are stained with blood, your fingers with guilt, your feet rush into sin. They are swift to shed innocent blood. Telling you. And they have no type of remorse. And if you remember what they did to Gaddafi, man, they mutilated this man. After his death, they castrated him, mutilated his body publicly. These people are wicked, man. Isaiah 31:1, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong, but they look not to Yah. Yes, that's where Egypt went wrong. Trusting in military personnel, trusting in, chariots, and in modern days, trusting in fighter jets and ships and weapons and drones. But y'all not trusting in the Most High. You accusing that the Venezuela president is being El Chapo or something, but we have no proof of that. Like, what proof do we have of that except for Trump saying it a couple days ago, man? What evidence? And why is it that the Congress didn't agree with this? How did he just do this randomly like that? That's troubling. Yeah, America and that other country that they're teamed up with, which I won't say, it seems like they're running around just doing whatever the hell they want, bro. And eventually the world's going to get fed up with it. And me, I'm just a concerned citizen. But anyway, let's continue.
As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place.
Look, he's bringing up that oil. Oh, snaps. See, He's too bold with it. He's too bold with it.
Can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such
We gonna run it.
time as a proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in
The oil business.
Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping.
So what are they trying to say? They weren't producing enough oil? So their oil is trash. Their oil was a bust. You're saying that to make us believe that you invading them wasn't about oil? Like what are we doing right now, Trump? Because wasn't this you? Hold on. Wasn't this you saying this here? Hold on one moment. Wasn't this you?
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
Damn. Didn't you say this?
But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where
So we making a dictator rich. You never said it was a drug mule. You never said he was a drug lord. You called him a dictator, which I believe is a projection. You really can't make this up. I see Anna Serve in the building. You just can't make this up.
oil is garbage, it's horrible. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
Yeah, he trying to get to that oil, man.
But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where their oil is garbage, it's horrible. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door.
One more time for the people in the back, man.
Fatality. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where their oil is garbage, it's horrible.
No, one more time for the people in the back, man. One more time for MAGA. Cause T. Diddy is out here wilding.
How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have
gotten all that oil.
Been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you?
Yeah, man. This guy here, bro. Man, listen, y'all. So he said, could you believe that we're buying oil from Venezuela? You know, listen, Venezuela was about to crack before I left. So now that he's back, he's like, nah, we gonna cripple the nation. Let's bring some democracy over there, baby. Yeah. Regime change. Let's get a hold of that oil. Let's see. Jordan Anthony, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. I ain't see too many people supporting, but I've been seeing the MAGA supporters. They've been lighting their chat up. I mean, there's been money. I've been seeing, it's been at least $4,000 I've seen put into MAGA. But I appreciate you. It says, work in the oil field in West Texas. The people up top that run it are demons. I'm fully convinced now they think we are dirt. Money good, but all money ain't good. In short, these actions are who they are. Wow. Well, I believe you, brother. Oil is big business, you know, and these lawless people who have already acquired everything else, you know, they want the world's resources. And we know that it's a war coming out of this because silver, gold, you know, copper, everything, the value of all of that is going up. Everything they use for their weaponry is going up right now. Judges 5:31 says, so let all thine enemies perish, O Lord, but let them that love him be as the sun when he goeth forth in his might. And the land had rest 40 years. Yep, it says, so let all thine enemies perish. See, that's what the Most High is going to do. He's going to punish these individuals. King Co, thank you for the 20, brother. I appreciate the support. It says, I got you always, been trying to help out. I appreciate it. Because it's a little bit daunting when I see these MAGAs. And I believe the live ended. But if I can go back and show you, man, you know, they get the support. You know, us independent journalists who are really speaking what the people want to hear, as well as speaking with people afraid to speak, it comes with little to no support. So anybody who supports my broadcast, I rock with y'all. But anyway, let's continue.
And what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure.
Wow. Do you hear this? So they're going to have, this is crazy. So they're going to send American companies over there to Venezuela after, you know, creating a regime change. They're going to send, you know, our specialists over there to pump out more oil. To pump out more oil in Venezuela. To do what with it? Take it, of course. You know, those people aren't going to go over there and work for free. You know, that means their oil just became our oil. You're going to send these companies over there to help them pump out more oil and more effectively so we can do what? Take it, pretty much. Like, you know what? Y'all not, look, we're going to take over the country pretty much. We're going to take y'all oil. This is savage, y'all. This is some savage work right here. And he's telling you what he's doing. And the American people, you know, MAGA at least, they're celebrating this.
They're now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind.
But America has the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. You know, listen, we're going to be your leaders. Venezuela is ours now. We can't risk, because look, they have the moral compass of the world, right? We can't have no other country go over there and take over our oil reserves. No, we the ones care about y'all.
Decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as
they're going to run it, man. Stefan, thank you for the support, man. I appreciate it. Says, oh, also, I've been trying to hit you up on IG about the land in North Carolina. I'm trying to build with like-minded brothers and sisters. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and hit me up again and just let me know that you're the brother from the chat, and I can direct you in the right place.
the proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
Start making money for the country. Yeah, okay. Start making money for the people. I mean, you think they're going to spend billions of dollars on fixing Venezuela's oil infrastructure just to help their country? Man, come on, man. Come on now. Come on now. What do we gain from that? What do we gain from that? No, you're going to spend billions of dollars to make sure they can pump out more oil so we can take that. You just call it what it is. Divine Lee, thank you for the support, my brother. I appreciate y'all showing up like that, man. You know, showing some support for the real material, the real content that's informing the people, man. Appreciate you, my brother.
And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if
They're ready to stage another attack? I mean, what the hell, man? You already kidnapped the country's leader and his wife. Like, first of all, what has his wife got to do with it? Could they show us that his wife is safe? And then you talking about another attack. No, y'all heard that correctly. Look, we're prepared to do another full-scale attack.
ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we will.
Now, why would you need to do that? Why? Just Tia, thank you for the support. I appreciate the support. Woot woot. We're in the building. Got the dancing video game joint right there. Woot woot. And thank you for the support.
We're prepared to do a second wave.
Let's see. Empower Educator, thank you for the support as well. I appreciate you. She says, Shabbat Shalom, grateful for your continued coverage. All praises to the Most High. Absolutely. Thank you for your support. And for those who are just joining, we have been, going in on the Trump administration. Ever since he's been in office, we've gave a lot of continued coverage on what's happening. And we are single-handedly responsible for breaking through a lot of the lies coming from this administration. Of course, the platform doesn't typically get the credit it deserves. But for those who've been around, those who know, they know. Let me see. Let's continue.
If we needed to do so, we actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not.
Karen says, I'm old and I don't know how to do it, Nubreed. I have to have somebody show me how to use my card to help support you. Well, my Cash App is Nubreed Global Truth. $, Nubreed Global Truth. So if you want to support that way, that helps the mission as well. All right. Thank you.
The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that.
Man, this man is war hungry, man. Like, when is this going to stop? That's why the Bible tells us that if the Lord didn't shorten these days, no flesh would survive this, man. Because these people are destructive. Straight up destructive.
Probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America.
Partnership? This ain't a partnership.
Country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe.
Yeah, right. Yo, name one country that America has invaded and they made them safe, independent, and rich. I'll give MAGA 60 seconds. MAGA, you got 60 seconds to let us know what country America has invaded struck in any capacity and they made their countries independent, safe, and rich. That's what this liar just said, bro. Let me read Baruch right here. Baruch 3:8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquity of our fathers. Right, everywhere they go, it's captivity. Everywhere they go, it's enslavement. Now, of course, that's because, we fell short of the glory for not honoring the law, statutes, and commandments. But those who are waking up are coming back to the truth. Sister 1973, thank you for the support. Proverbs 15:27. He that is greedy and gain trouble, he that is greedy and gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth a gift shall live. Absolutely. Absolutely. And, trouble is going to come America's way. Why? Because they're greedy, full of greed, full of it.
And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States.
Do y'all believe that? Because just a year ago, he was just saying that he was just a dictator. Now they're trying to convince us that Maduro was a drug kingpin who was stupid enough to smuggle drugs into America and be directly associated with that. Come on, man. Ain't no way. Ain't no way I'm believing that. The same man that was in a vehicle saying, look, let's negotiate about this oil situation. Proverbs 28:15, as a roaring lion and a raging bear, so is a wicked ruler over the poor people. And that's exactly how they're going to rule Venezuela. They're not going to go to Venezuela, do a regime change, and it's going to be all good. That never works. Isaiah 56:11, yea, they are greedy dogs, which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain, for his quarter. That's right. Yep, somebody calling it out. The puppet master behind the curtain got another thing coming. Let me see. Nico says he throws truth to the ground. He is the lawless one. There's no truth found in him. He speaks like a lion. His pride will make him fall. Absolutely.
As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, many, many Americans, hundreds of thousands over the years of Americans.
Man, you think the government care about Americans dying from drugs, man? Like, they don't give a damn about Americans dying from drug overdose. They don't care. There's a depopulation agenda here. This the same land that got Planned Parenthood on every corner. Like, these people don't give a damn. You're living in a country that has the most abortions. Statistically, America has the most abortions. You think they give a damn about people? Hell no. This is about power.
Died because of him.
Perpetual learner, that's the wrong Cashapp. It's Nubreed Global Truth Just Nubreed Global Truth. That's it. Not 77. It's $ Nubreed Global Truth. That's it. All right, let's go.
And his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil.
Now, how is this right? He's going to be facing judgment on American soil, facing trial on American soil. How is that fair? When our president just claimed that this dude was ruling a drug empire days ago, we have no proof of this. Let's go.
Right now, they're on a ship. They'll be heading to ultimately New York, and then a decision will be made.
So they're going to try them in New York. So you mean to tell me you got Venezuela's president Maduro and his wife packed up on a ship in the middle of the night, and you're bringing them from their country to New York? Wow.
I assume between New York and Miami or Florida. But we have people where
New York, Miami, or Florida? This is crazy. And Miami is Florida. He said Miami or Florida. But this is crazy. Yeah, this is unreal, man. So what are you going to do with his wife? Is she being tried too? Why wasn't she able to stay home? Somebody said, is he going to let them stay up in a Trump hotel? No, more than likely, he's going to have them in a cell being waterboarded. Unfortunately. If they are still alive. Far as we know, Maduro and his wife right now are getting waterboarded as we speak. Far as we know, they're being tortured. We don't know what the hell's going on. They can be going to alligator Alcatraz. We don't know. You take the leader of another country and send them to alligator Alcatraz is diabolical. Then take their oil supply after striking them is diabolical.
the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place. For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region.
How many times have y'all heard Venezuelans threaten America? Venezuelans ain't worried about America. They didn't even want war. Let me see. Somebody says they lost every war they ever started. Venezuela is safe, I think. Right. But I wouldn't sleep on Venezuela as far as on a ground war. You know, this is why America hit them with aerial strikes. When it comes to guerrilla warfare, Venezuela is not to be played with. Like, America is not strong at guerrilla warfare at all. We didn't win a lot of wars because of that. We didn't win in Iraq. We just withdrew. Because the element of surprise is something else, man. You know, when you got people jumping out of trees with machetes, you're not prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? You're not prepared. You listen, you used to sending drones and all of that, but when you got people who are hiding, you know, literally under the dirt, popping out of mud, you know what I'm saying? When you got people popping out of mud, willing to blow themselves up with grenades strapped to their bodies, You dealing with a different type of a situation. And you're not used to that type of terrain. It ain't as sweet as people think it is. You know what I'm saying? Ezekiel 7:4, mine eyes shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense thy way. Upon thee and thine abominations shall be the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. Oh yeah, the Most High will judge this place for its evil doings. Babylon will not be spared. It just won't.
You also, in addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over, in particular, the United States. Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide, and he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they called police. They were brutal, but they're not so brutal now. We just have to congratulate our military, Pete, and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. A little bit of a different kind of a threat, but we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have two, on average, 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore.
I'm from Washington, D.C., by the way, and born and raised in the DMV area. People wasn't really committing crimes before Trump sent the military, to be honest with you. DC the crime was already at an all-time low. Let me see, Psalms 94:16. Who will rise up for me against the evildoers? Or who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity? Exactly. And that's why we should continue to embrace our freedom to be able to speak our minds about this, because this president did this without the Congress, without the support of the people. And we have the right as American citizens to actually speak about what we disagree with coming from this president. Straight up.
The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're going, they're walking their daughters, they're walking their children, their wives. They walk to restaurants. Restaurants are opening all over Washington, D.C. So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military. And I want to thank law enforcement. It's been amazing. And they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now. And crime is down. We just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called, great person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know. And a certain very nice part of.
And he's trying to make us believe there's no crime being committed just because he sent military to the black community, as if only blacks was committing crime.
Louisiana, and we have done that. It was a rough section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing, and we've only been there for 2.5 weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster, and the mayor was a disaster, but it knocked down crime. But we're pulling out of there when they need us. We'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need the credit. But we'll be.
Yeah, for those just joining, yes, your eyes do not deceive you. The title was absolutely correct. The Trump administration kidnapped Venezuela President Maduro and his wife in the middle of the night after sending airstrikes. And now, you know, Trump is pretty much bragging about what took place. And it is absolutely reprehensible what we're witnessing in the country. And we know what it's really about. I mean, let's not play. We know why he did it.
Believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where their oil is garbage. It's horrible. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where their oil is garbage. It's horrible. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it.
Let me see. Danny Fernandez says, cry about it. He must be one of those Hispanics for Trump. Hey, Danny, let me do you a favor. I'm not going to block you, but I'm going to time you out. Let me do you a favor. There you go. I want you to just sit there on timeout for 30 minutes. Because y'all laugh now and then you're going to cry later. Laugh now, then cry later.
It over, we would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. You know where their oil is garbage. It's horrible. How about we're buying oil from Venezuela? When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right there.
Spoken like a true colonizer. We want that damn oil. Spoken like a true colonizer.
Be pulling out when they need us, they'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the country. But the gangs
Somebody said, no, he wants drugs out of America. Oh, man, you're such an innocent soul. I get it. So naive. Billy Roberts says, no, he wants drugs out of America. Well, if you want drugs out of America, maybe you should shut Big Pharma down. If you want drugs out of America, maybe you should shut down all the sites that actually produce fentanyl within America. If you want drugs out of America, maybe you should just go ahead and shut the whole CIA down. Maybe they should be punished to the highest extent of the law, because you remember a drug mule by the name of Rick Ross? Yeah. Sound familiar? Him alongside several other known drug dealers. They said that, look, they don't own boats. They don't own planes. So listen, if he really just wants drugs out of America, then there's going to have to be some major changes done internally. And I really hope you don't believe that these people was literally carrying drugs on speedboats and getting it over here to America. Like, I hope you don't believe that. And I believe that a lot of you all also believe that Venezuela's president was not a president. No, he wasn't a president. He was a drug cartel leader. So he went from a dictator to a drug cartel boss. The same man that was just sitting there days ago saying, look, he want to negotiate about oil with America. You know, doing what a country leader should be doing. And because the Trump administration said that he was a drug leader, we just believed it with no proof. And now he gets kidnapped in the middle of the night with his wife to be tried in America. Not a jury of his peers, no witnesses to him being directly associated with any drug cartels. And we're going to go with that? I'm just saying, I'm the type of person, I'm very much inquisitive. And I don't believe everything the government tells me. I just don't do it. You know, if you really believe that they're just batting 10 for 10 and they're just being completely honest, you're probably on the wrong platform, because we question everything. And if something don't make sense to me, I'm going to question it. I'm going to question it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with thinking outside the box. Let's continue.
They said raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were in all of the cities I mentioned.
It's crazy how it's always black and brown people being accused of rape, being the most violent, when the only people who are on the Epstein list is middle-aged white men. Know what I'm saying? The most convicted offenders are middle-aged white men. But they always trying to create this boogeyman that people of color are running around raping all these women. They're always trying to paint that narrative, y'all. When it's these people that be in suits, going to other countries, setting up shop, being colonizers, buying up land in other countries, and they be the ones setting up shop, and they be the ones caught up in all the damn trafficking. I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired of these people projecting everything on black and brown people, bro. I'm tired of it. The facts are the facts. And the world is ready for the truth. If you're not going to bring down the real predators, we're not trying to hear what you're talking about.
And they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people, and now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. There will no longer be threats. For years, I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans whose lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan terrorist organization. Really one of the worst. One of the worst, they say the worst. Americans like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn.
Yeah, I believe China is going to be pissed off. Chosen 1816 brought out a good point. It says Venezuela was supposed to be the safest country once they built that China, helped China even build them a top of the art library. Right. That's why China told America to leave Venezuela alone. And that's what I'm saying. This is going to create conflict. It's going to create more conflict. I personally believe that China will be the next superpower. I believe China will be the next superpower. You know, maybe I need to go to a news source to see if China has already responded to what Trump just did. Because they warned them. They like, look, leave Venezuela alone. You know, we working with them. And, you know, that may be problematic. She Chosen 44 says, mind you, the country isn't even America. So that shows you they have reach everywhere, doesn't it? I'm not sure what you're saying, She Chosen. Mind you, the country isn't even America. What do you mean by that? Yeah, China already has a lot of power, but I believe after America endures the judgment that is facing, China will be the next ruling kingdom or ruling nation. And I want everybody to understand, people be saying, well, Bree, you be talking about politics. No, I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about prophecy. Just because they label this politics, this is not politics. This is prophecy. Remember, the Bible says the Most High raise up kings, break down kings. He raise up nations, break down nations, raise up kingdoms, bring down kingdoms. This is prophecy that I'm talking about on this platform. And let's get that person out of here talking about no one was kidnapped. They're reporting. Let's do you a favor. Let's get your ass up out of here. You come over here being a Karen. They're over here congregating, the black, brown, and white people over here who are awoke. I'm gonna go over there and report them because they over there practicing freedom of speech, y'all. It's black, white people, and brown people. They all in one room. It's almost 1,000 of them. They just in there talking. I'm reporting you. Get your ass up out of here. Let's go.
And then, Gary, what happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered.
Hey, Tania was quick draw McGraw too. Soon as they said that, she booted. soon as they said they snitching, she booted them. Hey, they were out of here immediately.
Fatality.
She was like, "What? Get your ass out of here!" Like, Tania don't play. Tania don't play, yo. She's one of my strongest moderators, man. I'm telling you. She don't play. If you come over here, look, I don't even question her no more. If she block you, I know she blocked you for a good reason. If I see 20 people blocked, I'm like, okay, they out of pocket. 2 Peter 3:3, knowing this first, that they shall come in the last days, scoffers walking about their own lusts. Absolutely. We be getting them scoffers up out of there.
Animals, they murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons, a little bit more.
And I want y'all to give it up for Kim C because she just got her wrench. She just got her wrench as well. So shout out to Kim C. Let's go.
A little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions, they sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers.
Yo, Trump is doing nothing but lying, y'all. There's nothing but lies going on right now.
They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States. But no longer. And we have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and sold American oil, American assets, and American platforms.
You hear that? It says they just unilaterally seized American oil. Hold on, let me get this right. He's saying Venezuela unilaterally seized American oil. So he's claiming that they took some oil from us. And, I don't know what he's talking about here. Let's go here.
to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill, and the socialist regime stole it from us during those previous administrations, and they stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, so we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it. America will never allow foreign powers to rob our people or drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region and acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they use those.
All lies. All lies. If I was to go fact check this right now, if Venezuela was setting up shop to go to war with America, if I was to fact check everything he says, I promise you it's going to say unverified. They was not trying to go to war with America, bro. Venezuela was not trying to go to war. Literally, they were. Listen, the U.S. is harassing Venezuela for a war. Like, look, we need a war. We need a war to keep our economy afloat. That's how America operates. This place cannot thrive without war. It can't thrive without war. Every president bring us into some type of war. Every one. If you notice it, every president bring us into war. Yeah, war equals money. Exactly. It's big money in war. Big money in war.
Those weapons last night. They used those weapons last night, potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American.
Someone says, "Can you even call this a? Can you even call this a war?" No, this is not a war. This is bullying, but it will result in war. And what the president did was an act of war. The man kidnapped. Look, the man kidnapped his wife. Yo, he kidnapped his wife. That's war. There has to be consequences for that. On top of that, Venezuela didn't agree on that.
Dating back more than 2 centuries. And not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines. And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal. But we've superseded it by a lot. By a real lot. They now call it the Monroe Document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago.
All right. Somebody says, you guys are showing Trump derangement syndrome. Let me do you a favor and time you out. Not going to block you, but let's get you 30 minutes. Let's just do you a favor. I'm sorry, but Dirty MAGA, y'all not just going to be able to come up here and just say whatever you want to say. Some made up term that this ignoramus then created to abstain himself from criticism. He's the U.S. president, and we want to criticize the president for his decision to kidnap another country leader after sending airstrikes then damn it, we got a right to talk about it. Damn. MAGA, y'all just be floating in the wrong places. Shouldn't y'all be watching Erica Kirk's show? Because we know y'all love some Erica Kirk. Matter of fact, y'all should be more so looking at something like this, right? Because this is y'all's leader. This is y'all leader. Why y'all over here messing with me? Ain't this y'all leader? Yeah, won't y'all leave us alone? Won't y'all go watch The Bride of Chucky? Y'all always in our spaces bothering us, man. Damn. Go over there and watch Erica Kirk talk about Charlie Kirk while she pushed up on JD Vance. Y'all know JD Vance and Erica Kirk gonna end up getting married, bro. They're gonna end up bring the whole base together. Let's just look at this mourning wife. Oh, by the way, that's not really Erica Kirk, it's AI. It's AI, man. But no way Erica Kirk actually said this, though. Look, she actually said this, though.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
JD Vance clapping them cheeks, man. I'm telling you, man. Her husband had died, a couple months ago, and she's talking about nobody can replace her husband. But, she sees similarities in JD Vance. Consider that boy replaced. Consider that boy replaced. I told y'all last week, I said, man, don't be surprised if she get with JD Vance. The Indian wife disappears. And, they marry and they bring the base together. The Real 80 says they are saying that JD Vance and her are brothers. See, that's even more reason these rednecks would get married. You know what I'm saying? They like to keep it all in the family, I'm telling you. Yup. That make me believe they gonna get married even more. Like, yo, that's your sister, homie. But that's how they get down. They keep the bloodline sacred. That's what these damn Edomites, these damn Idumeans, this is what they do. I'm telling you, man. I was saying it last month. I was like, man, you know what would be the perfect move for MAGA? If Erica Kirk and JD Vance got together. JD Vance is the next president. Erica Kirk got the entire base. I'm just saying, man. Look, I ain't want to go off topic, but when you come over here and watch a Nubreed broadcast, sometimes we just go off the rails with it. Sometimes But anyway, let's go back to Trump, seeing what he's talking about.
Future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now. Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our national security. Just like tariffs they've made our country rich, and they've made our national security stronger than ever before.
That's nonsense. Now he's just going to go on and on and on bragging, right? Let me see. How long did this thing go off? All right. Let's see what his closing statements were, right?
Time being right now. Do you know?
Oh, now this is the good part. They're asking for I like when they have to open up for questions. Let's see what some of the questions are real quick.
reimbursed for what they're doing, but it's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they had. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Mr. President.
Hold on, let me get this person out of here. Nubreed is a tether. Let's do you a favor. We're going to put you on timeout. I'm going to give you 24 hours. All right, let's continue.
Do U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it.
That's a good question, Kim. Are there any news updates on this? That's a good question. Yeah, I let them stay. I just put them on timeout. Because what I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that my audience is smart. You know, you don't just want people just saying random things all the time. You know what I mean? Because then they think that they can come over and be trolls. And no, you know, you get timed out for that. So, okay, so now we're going to look and see. Hold on real quick. Let's see. Let me just see if there's any updates on Trump and Venezuela. Has anybody responded from Venezuela leadership? That's the question. Let me see. They captured Maduro. All right, they tried to disconnect the stream here. Y'all make sure y'all double tap the screen, get the likes up. Okay, there is an update. There is an update. Let's see what they're talking about.
To make of this, it's a very, very big development in a months-long effort against Venezuela.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to hear what the president has to say in his remarks from the White House that are planned for just a little under an hour from now.
Okay,
I feel like
this is before Trump's nation address, so that's not what I'm looking for. I don't really see any updates on this, man. That's a good question, though, Kim C. Where's Maduro and his wife? Where are they? So there's no real updates on that yet. I guess we'll find out later. You know, Trump bragged about it. Now, I do want to go to the fact that Maduro was open to talk to Trump. We got to share that.
Nosotros hemos tenido, Ramón, una sola conversación. Él me llamó el viernes 21 de noviembre de la Casa Blanca, estaba.
Yo, this brother is not a drug boss, bro. I can look at him off the break. Y'all really think this dude is a drug boss? Anyway, let's go.
Vamos, pues. Nosotros hemos tenido, Ramón, una sola conversación. Él me llamó el viernes.
All black and brown people are drug mules to them, bro. All black and brown people are drug mules to these people.
21 de noviembre de la Casa Blanca estaba. Y yo estaba en el Palacio de Miraflores. Conversamos 10 minutos. Y fue una conversación, como yo he dicho, respetuosa, muy respetuosa.
¿Qué le dijo
cordial.
¿Qué le dijo el presidente Trump?
Lo primero que me dijo Mr. President Maduro.
Y'all hearing this? Hold on, let me go back. I'm gonna have to read the so y'all don't have to read. I'll read it for y'all. Sorry about that. Let's just go back and see what Maduro was saying before he got kidnapped.
Nosotros hemos tenido, Ramón, una sola
Ramon, we've only spoken once.
conversación. Él me llamó.
He called me on Friday, November 21st from
el viernes 21 de noviembre de la Casa Blanca.
the White House. I was in the Miraflores Palace. We spoke for 10 minutes. So he spoke to Trump for 10 minutes. He's telling you what happened.
Estaba. Y yo estaba en el Palacio de Miraflores. Conversamos 10 minutos.
Wait, what? Okay.
Y fue una conversación como yo dije.
And as I've said, it was a very respectful conversation. It was a respectful conversation, y'all. Let's go.
Respetuosa, muy respetuosa.
¿Qué le dijo?
Cordial.
What did the president say? What did President Trump say to you?
¿Qué le dijo el presidente Trump?
Lo primero que me dijo.
First, he said, Mr. President Maduro, excellent. That sounds like Trump. Excellent, excellent. It's good to finally talk to you. But let's see what the snake did. Let's see what the snake did, right? Watch this.
Dijo Mr. President Maduro.
Excelente.
Y yo le dije, Mr. President Donald Trump. Y creo que fue.
He says, I actually found that conversation quite pleasant. Hold on, did I miss something? Let's see. All right. He said, I found that conversation quite pleasant. Let's go.
Hasta agradable esa conversación. Pero de ahí las evoluciones.
But since then, the talks haven't gone well. We can hope.
Las conversación no han sido agradables. Y esperemos. Y al pueblo de Estados Unidos.
To the American people, I repeat my message. I'm listening to what the man got to say. I'm listening to both sides. And that don't make me un-American because I don't believe that was the right move to invade them like that. I'm listening to both sides. Let's go.
Yo le digo lo que le he venido diciendo. Aquí en Venezuela tiene un pueblo.
Yep, our side is the truth. It says, here in Venezuela, you have a brotherly nation.
Pueblo hermano, al pueblo de Estados Unidos.
I even tell the people of the United States.
Inclusive le digo, aquí tienen.
You have a friendly government here. See, does this sound like somebody that was war posturing? Come on now, y'all. Trump just sat up there in a press conference claiming that they were setting up shop, trying to go to war, that they had America surrounded, that they was going out here and trying to plot on America. No, the Venezuela president is saying something totally different. And I am more behooved to believe him because I noticed that our president lies all the time. I mean, he lies every damn day. All I see is lies. I broke down a lot of the lies he tells. So I'm more prone to believe that this guy wasn't trying to go to war and that he was bullied.
Gobierno amigo, empezar a conversar en serio, con datos en la mano.
It says, hold on, pardon me. It says, let's start serious talks with the facts on the table. Let's start serious talks with the facts on the table. The facts. Can we talk facts?
Datos en la mano. Y el gobierno de Estados Unidos lo sabe porque se le hemos dicho a muchos de sus.
Because we've been told many of their representatives, if they want to seriously discuss a drug trafficking agreement. Now, I don't know what he means by that. If they want to seriously discuss a drug trafficking agreement, that is an interesting choice of words. That's an interesting choice of words. Could it be a language barrier here? I personally believe that America has always made agreements with other countries to basically funnel drugs in, i.e., Rick Ross, other people, Frank Lucas, because ain't no way I'm going to believe that Frank Lucas was using the U.S. military by himself to funnel drugs over here, and nobody knew. No. But let me see, what is he trying to say here?
Quieren conversar seriamente de un acuerdo de combate contra el narcotráfico, estamos listos.
We're ready. If they want to talk about a drug trafficking agreement, we're ready.
Que si quieren.
If they want Venezuelan oil, we're open for investment. Wow. So this is a person that is completely open with everything. He said, if you want to come up with an agreement when it comes to this drug trafficking thing, let's talk about it. This is what countries are supposed to do. Talk about it. He said, if they want Venezuela oil, we're open for investment. He says he's open for it. But see, Trump trying to push that new world order. Trump is trying to get it by any means necessary. Somebody in the chat says Maduro is posturing here and you're failing to see it. Yeah, he's posturing for peace. Man, you damn MAGAs, man. Y'all are heartless, bro. He's sitting there with his family saying, look, we can talk about this. That don't sound like posturing. And if he is posturing, he's posturing for peace. That's that heathenism, that no mercy. No. Let's find a reason to bomb. Let's find a reason to snatch him and his wife up. No, let's justify what we do. D Bright says anyone who calls you on it, you call them MAGA. You gotta be MAGA. Only MAGA would defend this. You gotta be MAGA. Let's go.
Petróleo de Venezuela, está lista Venezuela para inversión estadounidense como con Chevron.
American investments like with Chevron on their terms. Wow. Do you hear this? He's even speaking about how they would make this agreement. American investments like with Chevron on their terms. Meaning, look, we can even do this on y'all's terms. Just like y'all do with Chevron. This don't sound like somebody who won a war. What Trump talking about, they shouldn't have F with us and all of that.
Cuando quieran, donde quieran y como quieran.
That was complete transparency.
Mira, Ramuel, esta es expresión de la paz.
That was complete transparency, man. I don't know, man. And y'all think that he should have been snatched up. If you truly believe this man should have been snatched up in the middle of the night, him and his wife and his country hit with aerial strikes, I don't know what to tell you, man. The news calling it captured. I'm calling it what the hell it is. It's kidnapping. They kidnapped him. They kidnapped him. I don't know if I'm even... That's why I appreciate y'all support, y'all super chats, because I don't even know if they're going to allow me to monetize this video. I don't know. So, if you support the material, I appreciate you. Cashapp is Nubreed Global Truth. And, putting this material out, it's just the truth. But, people don't want to hear the truth. It puts a threat, a target on you for just telling the truth nowadays. Yeah, this is nasty work here. And Trump said he's going to run Venezuela. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. But nonetheless, this news is pretty much sending shockwaves through the country right now. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Of course, I got more material coming. If you're new to the platform, make sure you like and subscribe. Yo, I'll keep y'all posted. Y'all stay blessed out there. Peace.